long have you been doing Reiki here at this office?
I've been doing it here for 2 years. Um, it started off, I was certified and I needed to have a place to be able to do it. And I was speaking with my friend Allison Cruz that owns Natural Fuel. And this is actually her building.
Oh, okay.
And she was like, yeah, sure, I can help you out. You know, I'd love to have Reiki in my building. So.
And this is a beautiful building.
Yes.
This is really nice. I like that the parking lot, you come in and then everything is like on the back side, so it's like almost separated from like the busyness. You know, it's like you're already starting to unwind before you even get into it.
Right. You have the woods, the trees, the birds, everything is surrounding you. And then you come in and you have, you know, the bright colors that surround you. It's fun, it's playful. You have, you know, nature photography all on the wall. You have a bright purple sofa to sit at. And it's just kind of gives you that already relaxation as soon as you come in.
Yeah, I like that. So where can we find your business? What's the address here?
Okay, it's located at 1700 B South Main Street. It's behind the Farmers, I think it's called Farmers Bureau, Farmers Credit. It's located back behind there. So you actually turn in between the Farmers Credit and the VFW.
Yeah, and definitely look for the VFW. It's that left right there beside it. How did you get into Reiki?
Reiki was something that kept calling to me. I was going through a really bad divorce, and my life was changing like faster than what I knew I could do.
Yeah.
And every time I turned around, you know, I would go somewhere and Reiki would be mentioned. And I'm like, what is this stuff? I've got a lot of healing inside that I need to do.
You know, that's I got right from her, right from the get-go. I mean, you just seemed so nurturing and so, you know.
Thank you.
I mean, I'm serious. I mean, you know, I don't think we've even seen each other but a handful of times, but it's like
in the grocery store.
Yeah,
Mostly.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like every time I see you, it's like, I don't know, it's like I've known you forever.
I really love that. That's you know, I get that a lot, and that's because I don't judge. I don't favoritism. I don't, you know, your life is your life, and that's the way that it is.
Yeah.
And I've been brought up that way. You know, we are who we are, and if we don't like it, then we need to change ourselves. Try to change somebody else.
Yeah.
So
everybody has these like standards of like, you know, well, if you're not.
Yeah, there's no standards here. You just do what you have to do. And some days you're picking yourself off the floor, and other days you're marching down the road.
Right. Right.
Just depends on which day it's going to be. But yeah, so I came to Reiki during that time in my life, and every time I turned around, Reiki was coming through. And Allison had actually asked me, you know, there was a class, a lady came, and she wanted to do some energy cleansing, and I didn't know what it was. She just said some cleansing, and I'm like, okay, I need a lot of that.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, I didn't know what to expect or what to do, but we went through the energy cleansing and through the chakras and everything, and whenever it was all done and said, like, I didn't know what to expect whenever I started, but whenever it ended, I was like glowing from the inside out because I was able to clear out all the darkness and all the negativity that I had packed down deep in there, and I just started crying.
Oh, I was going to ask you how that impacted you.
Yes, I mean, like, the release was so overwhelming. All of that I'd been holding inside for so long. So it was so overwhelming. I just started crying, and the lady was like, no, that's normal, and I was like, oh, I'm so embarrassed.
Right.
It was all these people I didn't know.
Right.
You know, and but afterwards I was like, I need more of that. Like, and so I started asking around, and a friend in Charlottesville, you know, she had told me that a friend of hers actually did Reiki, and she kept telling me about it. I was like, okay, well, maybe, you know, maybe it's not the right time financially to get into it. You know, I'm just building myself back up. And it wasn't, because the universe will bring you things when you need them. And even though we may try to rush them at times, it will not come to us until it's needed.
Right.
So it was several years later, actually, I reached back out to her and I was like, can I call her? She was like, yeah, I'll do it with you. And I was like, really?
Oh, wow.
So she did. We first started our Reiki 1, Reiki 2. And so we're still working on our masters, but we're getting there.
Oh, yeah.
With COVID and everything, it's kind of slowed everything down.
How about your business here? I mean, how has that affected, COVID itself affected you?
My first year I opened was the February of COVID that started.
Oh my goodness.
And I was like, I'm just going to go for it. I know that people are sick and I know people are not feeling well and they need something. And so I had a few people that would come in because everybody was scared at that point. Yeah. And I had a few people that would come in and they were like, this is amazing. Like, I wish I would have known about this years before.
Right.
Because there were releases that people had. There was clearing of pain that people, would experience. They would walk out of here. They would come in so much pain they could hardly walk, and walk out, being able to walk around and like, oh, this is so much better,
That's great.
And it's amazing. Like even, myself and going through it and doing Reiki with myself. It's unexplainable. Like it has so much influence in your body and it aligns yourself. You don't realize how unaligned you are until you get a Reiki treatment.
Right. Wow. Now I know your daughter has an illness. And how does the Reiki help her?
Reiki, during her illness, she experienced a lot of anxiety and depression, and she stays tense all the time, scared that she'll stand out from other people. And Reiki is something that whenever she cannot go to sleep, she's really had a stressful day from school, it just lets her let it go. It relaxes her, puts her in a very calm place. Some days, even whenever she's, had a really bad day at school, she'll just say, Mom, just hold me and put your hands on me.
Oh, yeah, just that healing energy.
Just that healing energy that we all have.
Yeah. Now, because of her illness, did that drive you more towards the Reiki to try to help her?
Especially when I first started, I was pushed. It was actually a miracle. So my daughter had a relapse, and during the relapse, she had to be hospitalized, and so they had said, well, because of COVID, we're going to do this at home. So I had to stay at home with her because the treatments were they made her really sick and very weak. So, I needed to stay home with her. So the place that I had worked at before was like, well, we can't do that. So I needed something that I can be able to be there for her and to be able to pursue my dreams.
Right.
And so it was like, now is the time for you to do Reiki.
Right.
And that opportunity came open. I asked my friend Allison. She opened me, with open arms, come on in.
Oh, wow.
And things just started moving. I mean, the universe just opened up everything. And I was able to be with my daughter during the times of her being and to be able to start a business.
So it was like that was what you were calling to do.
I was definitely called to do Reiki.
Yeah. And I bet your husband really likes that too. I know he works a lot of long hours.
Yes. The first time I did it on him, I was like, okay, tell me how you feel. And I didn't expect or know what to expect from him, because you never want to go too deep into anybody that you're
right. That's just a little too close,
right? So, but I could feel, some answers as to why, like, some blockages in himself, and the fact that I was like, okay, don't go to sleep because I need for you to give me some feedback. And he was like, that was the hardest thing I ever
Stay awake.
experienced, is staying awake with that, because it relaxed him so much that, he ultimately wanted to go to sleep and just lay there and be in the moment.
Oh, man, I tell you, he must think he is so lucky when you started doing the Reiki. You have trouble with insomnia?
Yeah. I mean, some nights, he'll be hurting, and I'll just put my hand on it, and he's like, are you doing Reiki on me? Because the pain just went away.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, well, yes I am. Don't tell anybody. Yeah.
So what about you? What do you do to relax?
Oh, gosh. I have several things that I do to relax. And I think that it's so important to allow ourselves several times during the day to relax. Because life just amps us up, no matter which way. It's just life. If you're busy with the kids or busy with the laundry or whatever, I take a moment and I step outside. Stop and I allow myself to hear the birds singing. I'll go outside, and we live out in the country, and we have some little animals that we tend to, and I'll go out there and talk to them and play with them, and then we have a creek back behind our house, and we have things we can go and walk and go down to the creek, and me and my daughter like to go down there and pick up. We'll find crystals every once in a while.
Oh, wow,
yeah.
Oh, and then you bring them into your, and so you bring that joy of the outside into your office, so you could share it with others too.
And actually, some of the things that I find, like all the herbs that are just laying in the ground, is some of the things that I use to make my salves with.
Yeah, oh yeah. And so if you could you tell me a little bit more about yourself?
Salves. Depends on what part of the country. We're all from West Virginia, where I'm at, so it's sales.
Yeah, right. So could you tell me a little bit about them? Because